This is something which we have seen in our previous video, wherein we were talking about how to handle a design specification by means of an implicit block or a control block. So there is a control block and there is a non-standard stream. So this is the algorithm to solve that, which we already discussed, and we also discussed that we can solve for beta. If the equation is simple, we can solve for beta by using the root finding method. If the equation is not very simple, you can generate a PID kind of equation where this is your proportional control, this is your integral control, and this is a derivative control, whereas this is the proportional error. So beta will increase according to the change according to the error directly. This will based on the integration of all past errors, and this will be the difference between the immediate past error. So this is how you can update the value of beta. So these are the two possibility. Again, I am saying when I say it is the simulator which will do it for you, and you can change the beta. Only thing is there has to be a kind of cause and effect relationship between the beta and the set point or the y3 in this case. Now let us try to see that if there is a TS stream which we need to converge, how do we solve that? So let's say there is an algorithm, there is a flow sheet which solves mixture, emitter and flash, and this flash requires internal routine to be iterated, or it may be a distillation column with this kind of block. So it can be this as well, anything which requires a iteration for that particular unit. So recycle is for the entire flow sheet, whereas this is only for this particular block. So how do I solve this? Right, there are two points where I need convergence. One is this, other is this. So one algorithm is guess the recycle vapor stream, that is this stream, solve mixture, solve reactor, and calculate the flash, converge it for phi v by f, converge it for this, and then obtain the calculated vapor stream, compare the vapor stream which you have guessed for the recycle and one updated. If it is same, good, otherwise start from update that and start from step number 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you have to do here is for every one recycle of for every one convergence of recycle vapor stream, you require iterations for this. This is one way of solving this particular problem. Other way is guess recycle and vapor stream. Guess recycle vapor stream in 5 once. Calculate the mixture, calculate the reactor, calculate flash only once. Don't converge. Only do it once, and compare the calculated recycle stream and values which you have guessed. If it is same, good. Otherwise, go back to step 1 with new recycle vapor and new phi. Now this the algorithm here will converge when your recycle vapor stream will be same, because this will only converge if phi would be converged. So your number of iteration in inner loop iterations will be much lesser compared to the previous case, and hence this algorithm to solve this particular flow sheet will be more efficient. However, if this kind of if in this case, if this is an explicit one, like if it is only fx equals to 0 and it can be solved in one go, you need to solve it in one go. So in that case, you don't need to do something like algorithm too. So it all depends on the situation which is there in front of you. This is a bit complex, this flow sheet compared to what we have discussed there. Here what you can do is your inlet to temperature can be controlled by pit temperature. The friction recovery of the product C can be controlled by the pressure drop across the valve, and conversion in the reactor can be product purity can also take care of the conversion of the reactor, and this can be taken care by the feed product. So what happens is that if I want to simulate this particular process, what I need to start with it is I initialize this stream, that is the one which is recycled. I have to also initialize the conversion of the reactor. I have to also initialize the pressure drop across the wall. I have to also define the flow rate of the feed, and this can be calculated from the feed temperature because it's an explicit equation. And this particular friction recovery can also be converted, can be also related with delta P. So when I want to simulate this particular flow sheet, I need to initiate not only this the stream, but also I have to initiate the conversion, I have to initiate the feed flow rate, and I might need to initiate delta P across the wall. And for every loop, this will be updated. So I think this you can do, you can write the sequence here according to this on your own, and we'll proceed further. So with this, I think we'll be discussing about a basic summary of your sequential modules. And then apart from your regular modules, you require control blocks and information streams are also possible, which are non-standard streams. Each specification will add a loop, and first they should be converted into explicit loops, and simultaneous convergence of loop is better than the sequential convergence. That's what we discussed with the help of algorithm 2. And sequential convergence could lead to the instability and more iteration. So this is something which you have to keep in mind. But if they are explicit in nature, fx equals to 0, fine, like every time you just have to solve one equation to get it, you do it. But if you require iteration, simultaneous convergence is better. Now coming to the basic characteristics of sequential modulus based on what we discussed till now. First, it's very easy to write. It is easiest to write. Rather, you just have to drag and drop. It has a very rigid and clear problem definition. That means it is a flow sheet kind of problem. You just give input, equivalent parameters, you get an output. So it has a rigid and clear problem definition. It guarantees solution because it has a very clear definition. The solution is guaranteed. You cannot go here and there. As compared to equation oriented, where you write a very complex mathematics and at the end you find that you cannot solve this. But it is suitable for rating. So this involves both plus and minus. If there are any design specification, you have to handle them indirectly. That means you have to create a loop, you have to do iterations, and hence design specification always results in a loop. It requires more computational time. So sequential module approach actually goes sequence, and it requires more computational time. As against that, if we talk about equation solving approach, what is an equation solving approach? Is that you have to write equations representing your various unit operations. So it has sets of linear or non-linear equation. And what are the equations we are talking about? Equations are material balance, energy balance, various model equations, connection equations, design specifications, some constraints, physical property estimation, and sizing and costing calculation. So these are all equations which an equation solving approach will handle simultaneously. Now most of them you as a user will be providing, some of them you will be inbuilt, like physical property estimations will be inbuilt. So if I compare if I see the structure of the equation solving approach, you can see there is a big difference between modular mode and equation oriented mode. Flowsheet topology and unit operation are merged into one, because this is something which will be represented only by equations, and it will be the user who will be providing this, and this will be accessing physical property model. So these are already available in the simulator. You keep on accessing to solve this. So the structure is reduced. The basic information provided by flowsheet topology and unit operation remains same, but in modular mode it is represented by modules, whereas here it is represented all by equation. All the equations will be written, need to simultaneously solve. Right? Solving again is being done by the simulation, but as a user, our job is to provide those equations. The good part here is that you can provide equation in your own way. Like if there is an equation, say if I give a very simple example, very basic example, equation of a straight line, y is equal to mx plus c. Now modular mode has a rigid definition, so it is always y is equal to mx plus c. So you have to supply x, m, and c to get y. So that is a rigid definition. Whereas in equation oriented approach, the same equation y is equal to mx plus c can be written as c equal to y minus x if you want to find c, given y, m, and x. If you want to find x, you can write y minus c upon m. So you have to supply y, m, and c, and you get the value of y, m, and c, and you get x. If you want to find m, you supply y, x, and c, and the expression becomes y minus c upon x. So you can modify the equations in equation solving approach, because it is you who will be writing those equations. I give a very simple example. This kind of equations are not present. There will be huge number of equations, and because of that, when you make some changes in the equation, it is quite possible that the mathematics becomes so complex that you cannot get the solution for it. That's why there the solution is guaranteed. Here the solution is not guaranteed. There you cannot handle design equations or design problems. Here you can handle design problems, because you modify your equation in way in which you want. This is more efficient, less time, but this requires more space. So let us also talk about the characteristics of equation oriented. We will not discuss equation oriented in much length as compared to sequential modular approach. Reason being, this is not being used in the industry. and we are also not going to work on this. We are going to work on Aspen HYSYS, but still we should know this because we should be able to appreciate what we are doing there. So yeah, it is difficult to write because you have to write the equation, but it has a flexibility and freedom to do whatever you want with the equations. And because of that flexibility and freedom, if something goes wrong, solution is not guaranteed. Yeah, it can handle inputs, so you can handle the design specifications very easily. It is naturally it's suitable for both designing and writing, and it takes less computation. So if I compare them one-on-one, modular and equation oriented, here it simulates one model at a time, whereas here it is all the models are solved simultaneously. You have set an equation and those equations are being solved. Here you have to decompose the flow sheet, you have to tier it, whereas here you have to order the equations, which equation are to be solved first. That is what you are supposed to do. Here it will be iterating on a TS stream, whereas here all the unknown variables are updated simultaneously. So if there are 5, 6, 7, 8, they will be all for the entire flow sheet, all design specification and everything will be updated simultaneously. It is less flexible but more robust. That means you don't have flexibility, but the solution is guaranteed, so it's robust. Here it's very flexible, but if you commit a blunder, the solution is not there for you, so it's not guaranteed. Here the initialization is important. If you fail to do proper initialization, still you have a fair chances of the convergence. Here they say initialization is very important because there are so many equations to be solved together. Here it will be solved in sequence. So at any given time the computational burden is less. Whereas here, since so many equations are going to be solved simultaneously, if the initialization is not proper, you will not be able to converge even if the model is proper. So that's why they say initialization is very, very important. Here the storage requirement is not high, whereas here the storage requirement can be really high because it has to deal with so many equations simultaneously. So the storage requirement may be so high. So you can compare modular and equation oriented, and by all means, this becomes a choice for industry. Next is what are the prerequisites for simulation, because we have started off with simulation, but before we jump to simulation, what should we know? So we should know modeling, we should know mathematical process. We have not discussed this too. This will start separately. We should know physical property estimation, and most importantly degrees of freedom. So degrees of freedom is nothing but your thermodynamics. I'm sorry, I'm afraid I have to take thermodynamics here. Come back. We have studied Gibbs rule, Biome's theorem, and mathematically also we know degrees of freedom is nothing but number of model equations and number of unknowns or process variables are required to be same for getting direct solution. So you see number of unknowns, number of equations. If there is a difference, that becomes my phase. That becomes my degree of freedom. So this is the phase which I know, where NV is number of independent variable, N is number of independent equation. Based on this only I have arrived at this. This is intensive state, whereas when you simulate, it will not be intensive state, it will be an extensive state. So why degree of freedom is important? Degree of freedom specifies the importance. Like any problem, if I want to solve, I need to specify degree of freedom, because unless and until I know degree of freedom, I won't be able to solve it. How can I achieve it? For a given set of unit operation, or for a given set of problem or a model, I need to first identify minimum number of variables, minimum number of process variables, and I take the difference of that. That is nothing but my degree of freedom. So what should I know if I want to find out degree of freedom? I should know two things: the variable associated with the process, to the process code. In fact, maybe after a few lectures we'll be discussing more on how to find out degree of freedom. But today I'm just giving you an overview of degree of freedom. So to know what process is going on, naturally you have to be a good chemical engineer, because unless and until you're a good chemical engineer, you won't be able to get proper knowledge of what process is going on. Because what we have to do when you want to obtain degree of freedom, we need to identify variables and we need to identify the number of equations. You may not be writing those equations, but you should know how many number of equations, model equations are there. So if there is a process stream, right, which are the variables? We have discussed this so many times, so I'll go with that. So basically the variables associated with the process stream are what? Temperature, pressure, flow, and composition. But not composition. Composition independent is C-1. So if I take in that form, if I want to define a stream in a particular simulator, what I need to define is temperature, pressure, flow rates of all the components. Now when I define flow rates of all the components, its composition are all automatically defined. So this becomes C plus 2 or N plus 2 or NC plus 2, whatever you say, where C or NC or N refers to number of species. The same thing I can define in temperature, pressure, total flow and all but one composition. That means if there are N component, N minus 1. If there are C component, C minus 1. If there are NC component, NC minus 1. If there are 5 component, then 4. Because I just need to identify all the independent variables. So likewise, if I need to define a stream, the total number of variables I have to define. If there are C component in that stream C, then the total number of variables I have to define is C plus 2, and this is how I can define a process stream in a simulator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think when you open a particular process simulator, this is something which you'll be able to appreciate. So this many variables, any one way you can either define it this way or this way or this way or this way. Any way you can define a process stream. So how do you define a degree of freedom for an interpretation? First, find out the number of stream associated with the unit. Let's say there are n stream associated with the unit. Then how many variable associated with that unit? N into C plus 2. So n into C plus 2. So number of variables would be n multiplied by C plus 2. So that is something which you have to calculate. So that will give you a number of variables. Next step is find out model equations. Now in finding out model equations, there are no set rules. You must know the process which is taking place. So if it is an equilibrium stage, there are phase equilibrium relationship. It is a mixture, then there are metal balance equations. If there is only heat exchange taking place, there is energy balance equation. So you have to identify number of model equations. So first find out number of variables, then find out number of equations, take the difference is your degree of freedom. And we will elaborate more on this maybe at a later part of your this course. So this is something which is sufficient right now about DOF, that is degree of freedom. It can tell you how many variables, but it will not tell you which variables. So that depends on you. That's the freedom which you have. So if I want to summarize the entire story, as far as simulation is concerned or introduction to process simulation is concerned, that simulators are inevitable tools for the process engineers. There are huge number of process simulators or commercial simulators available to you. You have to select the proper. You have to be aware about it, and you have to continuously use it in order to be confident about it. It's a tool to fight the battle without losing the life. So that means you can do whatever you want. However, again I'll say simulate with understanding. So simulation without understanding does not make any sense. Garbage in, garbage out, we already discussed. Application of simulation can range from a subject of process engineering to optimization of process plants, or very simple, small scale, application to a very big application. Simulation problem includes design, writing, and analysis. And there are two kinds of approaches to simulation: modular mode and equation-oriented mode. Right? Are there? Prerequisite for any process simulation is modeling, mathematical methods or models, physical property estimation, and degree of freedom. Degree of freedom is essential tool for solving or specifying a problem. It tells us how many variables to define, but it will not tell what to define. So I think with this we will be starting our sequential modular approach in detail when we meet in our next video. Thank you.